So in our last video, we arrived at Great Harbour Cay in the Berry Islands, started to settle in, hang out at the marina. We visited Flo's Conch Shack. Farther down in the Berries, we also attended an alien party put on by a local here, got some fresh conch ceviche, and enjoyed some time out at anchor. In this video, we experience a man-down situation and have to visit a local clinic. It does some triage, but eventually Brian has to get airlifted back to the US for some medical care. In the meantime, Lori brings a bunch of folks up through Shark Creek and has some fun exploring the shallows of Great Harbour Cay. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride? This is definitely something you don't want to wake up to first thing in the morning. A fire adjacent to the marina. Come to find out, it was a golf cart that was charging and caught fire. We were worried it might spread to the marina, but thankfully the owner put it out pretty quickly. After our messy wake-up call, we decided to get in some beach time. Ta-da! What do you make?
Tomato mozzarella with some bread.
Homemade bread?
Homemade bread. Yep,
How do you like your homemade bread?
I like it.
Okay. Is that all that matters?
That's all that matters.
Okay, good. We hung out on the beach. Work continued at the condo. Apparently, when these condos were constructed in the early 70s, they used beach sand in the concrete mix, and that had salt in it, and it rusted out a lot of the rebar. So the upstairs porch needed to be replaced. Unfortunately, that wasn't the only problem with stones on the island, because I developed a kidney stone and had to go to the local clinic. If you've ever had one, you know that the pain can be excruciating. The clinic doubles as a post office and an administrative building. We didn't really know what to expect, but the care was top notch, and they hooked me up with an IV and morphine. I was down for the count, but the morphine sure did help relieve the pain. And so what if the gurney was in a storage room / office? After a little morphine, I didn't care. Total cost for 4 hours in the clinic, 2 IV bags, 1 morphine drip, $91. Similar stint in an ER in the US would probably be about $5,000. Not wanting to risk it though, I booked a quick flight home to get checked out by a US doctor. My first leg was from Great Harbour Cay to Nassau on a local airline called Lay Air. For the short 20-minute flight to Nassau, we took an Embraer Bandeirante. These were built in Brazil in the 1970s. And let me tell you, it looked like it.
There are 4 exits, 2 to the front, 2 behind the wings with the blue bottom and top located left and right. Instructions clearly marked. Life facilities standard operated in case of a fire emergency.
It seemed like it took forever to get this baby off the ground. Thankfully, it was a light wind day, so it was an incredibly smooth flight. Surprisingly, it was a pretty steep descent, but it did give us a nice view of the Nassau runway. Thankfully, my connecting flight to Tampa was on a much more modern aircraft. It was about an hour-and-a-half flight to Tampa. It was super smooth, and we had a beautiful view of the Berry Islands as we were exiting Nassau. I think we were up at around 13,000 feet, and you could really get a great view of just how shallow the waters are around the Berry Islands. And while I was gone, apparently the PDQ Armada arrived at Great Harbour Cay Marina.
Riders, Island Time, Heron.
Most of these PDQs have new owners, and it's their first time in the Bahamas.
What I'm making in the making.
Yep.
Making it for a while
I think puts that.
Bonafide. Bonafide, Bonafide. Caddyshack. Sea Fever.
though. Yeah.
You got a full enclosure.
First time. Yeah.
Flip turn.
It took no time for John and Sally to put these PDQers to work on their condo renovation project.
Some people work, some people play.
Lori accompanied the group on a tour to the nearby Shark Creek. The creek itself is very shallow, so you have to time it right and go at high tide. They didn't see any sharks, but there were plenty of turtles and rays. Eventually, the creek widens out and the blue water returns. In the meantime, I was spending a week in Florida, waiting on doctor's appointments and seeing my own wildlife. Thankfully, while in Florida, I was able to pass one of my 2 kidney stones, the smaller one about 3 millimeters long. The doctor said I should be able to pass the other one, which is 5 millimeters, so I decided to head back to the Bahamas. Good thing I wasn't trying to bring back any contraband. I had a great flight back, an hour and a half, and it took us directly over Great Harbour Cay where we stay. Beautiful shot here of the beach and the airport there. On the way into Nassau Airport, we flew over West Bay, which is a super nice anchorage if you were headed from the Berries to the Exumas. My connecting flight was on Flamingo Air, and there were a lot of Bahamians going back to Great Harbour Cay. And what I noticed is a lot of them come to Nassau and stock up on groceries and supplies because they have a lot better supermarkets and stores there. And then they ship them back to the Great Harbour Cay and load up these little flights. The Flamingo Air agent took us on a long walk out to the plane, which looked to be their brand new Twin Otter, and I was super excited. Unfortunately, she made a mistake, so we had a long trek back to what our plane would be. Very old Beechcraft 99 commuter airplane. Damn. Thankfully, it was only going to be a 20-minute flight because these aircraft are not air conditioned. And let's just say they're a little bit cozy.
That is a brand new. Yeah, hold on.
You want
Are
me?
you eating that bread? No, that's Alpin.
Unfortunately, we had a bit of a ground delay because there were planes ahead of us and planes coming in, so we had to wait about 30 minutes in that hot box. Thankfully, it was a smooth flight because I really started to feel claustrophobic. It was a beautiful day and some really nice views as we came over the Great Harbour Cay Marina on our approach to the runway, and I was super excited to see Lori and Pancake. We stopped to grab a meal at the nearby Native Hut, brand new restaurant that opened up across the beach and real close to the airport. And after a week away, I was craving some much needed beach time, and Laura and I took off on a low tide day to do some exploring.
This one's already been eaten. What sort of treasures did you find?
Urchin shell, and starfish, sage blood down there.
its life.
Fan without the fans. But this is cool. Try not to break it.
I'm not gonna hold it.
As always, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe to our channel.